Hey, I'm back. This is Chandler for Melda Production. Last week I showed you how to create a halo delay in M-Guitar Architect, but this week I'll show you how you can do it if you just have MDelayMB. And in fact, I'll kind of extend it and show you some other cool things you can do with it. So let's get started. So we have this MDelayMB. I'm just going to go in here to the one band setting. Don't have the easy screen out. If you just want to do the halo delay, we can do it like this. I'll show you this first. I'm going to change this from default mode to classic mode, and that's just so we have a loud first delay, I should say. I believe Andy Timmons has his delay set at 300 milliseconds for one. So let's play this. Okay. And then we have tap 2, which we can do the other one, but instead of having this parallel at the default setting, we're going to switch it to serial. And this one, I believe, is 500 milliseconds. Set it to classic, like this. That's pretty good. The other thing we need to do is we need to change the filters. So what I'm going to do is just set this to around maybe 100 or so. Set this to 2000. Okay. And another thing we can do is I like to use the feedback filter. The input filter is just going to use the filters on the input, but the feedback filter will put it in the feedback loop. So each time it'll get slightly darker. And there you have it. You probably want to turn the wet down a bit, like maybe around here or so. So I think that's a pretty good approximation. But you probably say, like, let's take this farther. So I'm going to show you some other things you can do. I'll go here. I have it on one band, but I actually want two bands. Actually, instead of switching it to two band, what I'm going to do is just right-click here. I'm going to set this to 2. Okay. But if you just do it like this, I'm just getting the low end here. So this is splitting it just frequency-wise. So let's right-click it again. I'm going to set it to serial, like this. So now band 1 is going to go into band 2. So for now, I'm just going to bypass band 2 here because we don't want to hear it. I just want to set up band 1. And so instead of setting it up like I did before, what I'm going to do is try to set this up like a almost early reflections. So what I'll do here is I could use the sync feature here, but let's just use this delay here. I'm going to find a really low value like this. Okay, 1/28th. Play this. It almost sounds like, I don't know, like a comb filter in there, which you probably are getting some of those. You can check some different ones. So if you think, yeah, that's a little bit too low, I can set this. Try to find the one with the least amount of like destructive interference. Also, for this, since it's on the classic mode, I can turn the feedback down to 0, so we only get 1. Let's see here if this is any better. I'll just leave it where it was. So, like this. So we have this one here. And what I kind of want to do is give this some stereo width. So one of the sides, let's say the left side, I'll move it just by a few milliseconds like this. That's giving it some stereo width. I'm going to turn the output down just because this can get a little bit loud. And I'm going to leave this parallel, and I'm going to activate the second tap. And I'm just going to use a similar but slightly different value. So I could do, let's say, this. A 64th note triplet here. Turn this off just so we can hear this. Make sure it's on classic mode. Turn the feedback off. Do the exact same thing. I'm going to move this up on the other side. Now turn them both on. So this is going to be kind of like our early reflections. Turn the output down a little bit more. Now for the other side, this is where we're going to get our traditional like halo effect in band 2. So for this one, what I'm going to do is set that up like before. I already showed you how to, find it this way. So in this case, let's do it like this. I'll do an eighth note here. Already set on classic mode. Good. Now I'm going to have on the other side serial. Tap 2. And let's do this like, actually I forgot, what did I have here? Was it a dotted quarter note maybe? Let's hear this. It's our eighth notes. Okay, that sounds pretty good. And so tap 1 should be going into tap 2. Both set to classic. Let's hear it. Now I'll turn this on. So now there are kind of early reflections things are going to go into here. But something we might want to do, even before we do that, I'm going to go back here and let's just filter this a bit. So let's hear it as it is. Get rid of some of those lows. Some of the highs. I just kind of want to feel it. I don't really want to hear it. As opposed to this. And we can even turn the resonance down too. Okay, and we'll do the same thing with the other one here, except this time I'm going to use the feedback filter. I might turn the feedback up a little bit, just because those filters are kind of eating up lots of the repeats. Now I'll put these both together, so the early reflection should feed into this halo style thing on band 2. Now, for the most part, that's what I want. I just probably want to turn the wet down like this. And also, for some reason that gets louder or softer when you only have one band, it's bypass. So just like this. So that's what I want. Now, to me, that's sounding pretty good. I'm getting that kind of halo effect. I can hear it kind of getting darker, so it's not in the way. It almost sounds like a reverb. And I'm still getting a little bit of that kind of, what do you call it? Stereo width. Now, one thing I want to do is here I have the dry, and this will let the dry from band 1 in. So for band 2, I'll probably turn that up. I shall do it off and on versus this. So here you're getting more repeats. That's what I want. You can kind of set the level where you want. Maybe I want it a little bit further down or whatever, but that's basically what it is. Now, some other things we can do is, you probably notice like, hey, there's no like that chorusing in there. So we can do something about that. We can go into any of these, really. I could adjust one of these here. Let's try this at 25. Let's clear and learn. This. I'm going to make sure that when I turn it off, that it goes back to where it was, hopefully. Let's see, off. Good, it did. Now, I can use this on the interval, but I find it's easier just to use this, let's say, up only here, and use the depth. So I want the speed, as I said before, maybe about like 0.7 something. I think is good. And the depth, maybe a little bit less than 1.0. Let's hear this. Should be moving now, I think. Go. In fact, I might want to turn this down just a little bit. Maybe 0.7. And There. You can really hear that. I'll turn this all the way up so you just hear it more. You can really hear that chorusing in there. Usually want to turn that down though. So I can make that more extreme by increasing the depth, or with the frequency, for example, I could turn that up if I wanted more extreme chorusing. You can also try adjusting one of the sides. So here you see I'm adjusting that value, the main value. But if I clear this off here, I can adjust this right stereo width here, which will also make a difference. Let's see, learn. There, turn it off. There we go. So now I have the right offset. I'll do the exact same thing, and pull up like that, and it should also give us another stereo sound. I find when you do this, it's not quite as extreme. So maybe I'll turn it up a little bit. But that's another way you can kind of add it there. To be honest, I like the other one more. But you can kind of experiment and modulate the parts that sound good to you. Go back here. There we go. I know. Move it back here. So there's your modulation. Let me see. Some other things you can do here is, instead of messing with the early reflections, if I want more stereo width, I can also try taking one of the taps, especially tap 2 here, and we can make that stereo with ping pong delay. So I can set this to ping pong here. Now it's not doing anything, but if I move the panorama all the way to the right, badly played, but you get the idea. So you can use this to give a panorama. You can choose left or right, whichever one you like. And it kind of surrounds you, so I think that's a cool thing you can do. And finally, something you might want to do is you can even duck this if you want using one of these mods. So let's see, I'll go clear and learn, move this wet all the way down, set it to whatever value is good for you. By default, it's going to be set here on the LFO, which we don't really want. Instead, I probably want to use the follower here. So I want to set this at a point where this is going to be like the loudest sound. So if I play something really loud, that's at the top. Now, by default, it's going to kind of have the max here. So when I play it, the wet's going to go up. We want to invert that. So it's up at the top normally. And then when I play something loud, it goes to the bottom. Like that. Put this down. And you hear it coming back in. So one things I might want to do is I might want to change the attack. I don't want it too fast, but not too slow either. Try this. And I can adjust the release as well. Let's see. I think that's good. I can also add a hold in there. Now, in this case, I have the value going to 0, which I didn't really want. I don't need to go that far, so I can just adjust this value to something lower, maybe 15%. I think that gives you like a smoother sound. So that's how you can create a ducking effect with this delay. So hopefully I've showed you lots of things you can do with this MDelayMB. You can go farther than I showed before with creating all sorts of stereo effects. You could even do more with this. I could add more of these and do even more weird chorusing effects if you want. You could do some weird things with the filter modulation if you want. But I think this is a good sound that I might use in a future song. But if you like this, give me a thumbs up, leave me any questions or comments down below, and be sure to check out all the other plugins at meldaproduction.com. Till next time, see you.